All right. Hey, warm welcome everyone to this episode of Teamspective Customer Webinars. Really great to see all of you here, and I'm sure a few late joiners will join soon as well. My name is Jose. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer and one of the co-founders here at Teamspective. I have met many of you in the recent months, and I'll be joined today with Jaakko, our CEO and co-founder, to share this content with all of you. But as you should already know, the goal today is very focused on some Teamspective product updates, sharing some insights from our side, and especially focusing on the developments in AI. And the agenda looks roughly like this. Let's start with some context to get all of our heads thinking approximately from the right or the same perspective, and we'll get some words from Jaakko, and then to get you very concrete ideas and learnings from this session. We will go through a lot of different use cases for you as HR admins, but then for your leaders and employees as well. So you might have something to take back to your organization after this. We will have a Q&A, but I heavily recommend you to use the chat during the session whenever we might answer questions on the fly as well. And related to those practicalities, we are recording this webinar. We will share the materials with you as well. So don't worry about that. You can focus on the content and use the chat. And even if you don't have a question, you can have other discussion and reactions. Use those. It's always nice to present and see someone say wow in the chat. So let's see how it goes today. But I'll hand it over to Jaakko before going any further into details. So go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much, Jose. And it's my great pleasure and our great pleasure to host you today and share some information about the recent updates that we have brought to the solution. And a lot of those updates are there only because we get to work with you. And you have a lot of opinions, you have sharp observations, you have feedback that helps make our solution better. So I first and foremost want to thank you, everyone, for that feedback, because it truly helps us. This is our largest customer webinar this far, so we are excited to see these numbers as well pick up. But overall, what's going on at Teamspective, I want to give you just an overall update from the business perspective. So we have been getting bigger and bigger customers with the numbers of employees in the tens of thousands. And we have also been expanding our capabilities to serve mid-markets and enterprise customers. So that has been a big change for us as a company, but we have seen faster growth and more profitable growth also in this way in the past year or so. We are now 10 full-time employees, so still a small team, but we are pretty effective in how we work, and we use a lot of AI also internally to get more results out of our full-time employees. But we are also hiring for new customer success manager roles and marketing roles. So if you have any brilliant leads who would be a perfect fit for our company, so give us a lead, please. Finally, we have recently been positioning as the leaders in integrating AI, and especially like AI automation, into HR and leadership workflows. And you can see a lot of the most advanced stuff that we have been building recently. And I know the AI landscape is moving extremely fast. It's hard to keep track. And that's also one reason why we want to organize these webinars, so that you would stay in the know about these things. And you would also help us improve them when you take them into use. And then the other slide. So I wanted to still remind what the kind of strategic focus areas are for us as a company. So we are building a leadership enablement platform, and that is nobody else is in the world is building leadership enablement platform. So we think that is a crucial perspective that we need to take. The quality of leadership is what all employee surveys, engagement surveys, performance reviews try to optimize. It's the quality of leadership that's the central term and concept. And we have taken that as the new kind of centerpiece, and we build better and better support for managers and leaders in the organization. Second point here is that we see the software landscape switching from software tools more to these AI assistants, like human-like assistants, where you can just ask it to do something and it's going to figure out how to do it with the tool stack that it has access to. So it's an exciting development, and it will certainly make software solutions easier to use. Then the third point, we want to be accessible in Slack, in Teams, and in the enterprise AI stack. So we don't believe that these like software solutions should be some places where you go and log in and have to go through a gate there and find the information. That those capabilities need to be brought to your current tool stack. That's the optimal way to use software. So that's why we're also today talking about these capabilities. And finally, we want to help HR be more scalable, and we want to help you automate the mundane in this like HR work. I know nobody wants to spend 3 days creating an Excel sheet for starting a performance evaluation round. Like nobody wants that job. So we want to help you automate a lot of that heavy lifting and boring parts of your work and be more effective and focus on more productive things in your work. And that is the end of my 10 minutes. And if you have any comments or questions or emojis, let me see them. And otherwise, over to Jose. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaakko. Yeah, really good overview, and that hopefully helps explain a lot of why these have been priorities in our product development as well. Yeah, but let's move on. Couple of words about how we see that in HR you should be rethinking about your processes and ways of working in this like AI era, and then let's move after that to the use cases. There's one way to look at the AI solutions in Teamspective is to categorize them across 4 types. And the first one is intended for helping the HR teams do their work better and easier. So what that could mean is, for example, having AI help you draft some assets like development plan templates or creating action tips for your surveys and so on. So you don't need to create all of that from scratch. The second one is summarizing insights. All of you have seen some versions of this already for a long time. For example, analyzing open comments in surveys. You might have hundreds of those. Takes a lot of time manually. The same with 360 feedback or performance reviews, or creating a snapshot of the most important engagement survey results. So summarizing a lot of data is the second one. Third type of AI is the one focused on coaching you or the employees in the moment. So when they are writing a feedback, they get some tips and evaluation about is the feedback high quality or not. In the same way, when they are filling in a development plan to get some instant feedback from the AI model. Are you missing out on something? Should you elaborate on something? And so on. And then the fourth one would be more general purpose. There will always be some use case or question in your mind or action you need to take that we just simply cannot predict and prepare a feature for it. And that's where the AI chat or these integrations to your other AI tools can be very useful. So the purpose there is that you can ask anything about your data or help like prepare communication for the certain situation or generate plans and so on. But this, at least for me, is a good way to categorize the types of AI and help understand that it can actually mean a lot of different things. And how that will then impact the way you should think about your processes is that in quite many situations, the HR team is in the position of guiding leaders, providing the instructions, following up, maybe supporting or even hand-holding on some actions. And from that position, with AI, we should be going towards the approach where HR is guiding the platform, and then the platform will guide the leaders. And that's way more scalable, way more cost efficient, and also way faster way of giving leaders the enablement they need. In the same way, it's very typical to have a lot of reports and dashboards in your software, and we're not saying that that should go away. But from there, you can also move towards more automated insights and then having that chat to help you with deep dives. And then if you are very analytical or want to go look at the reports yourself, you can still do that. And then the third one here would be like having your internal documents, your company values, employee handbooks, leadership principles, and whatnot. it's important to have those available. You can have them referenced by employees so they read through and try to remember what it says and so on. Or in the AI era, you can move towards direction where you trust the AI to understand those documents and then include those points in everything that it recommends to your leaders. So again, making it much more embedded into all of the work that your employees do. So what it looks like in the end is that the HR is more focused on making sure that you have the processes defined, you have the right resources, you have high quality best practices and document everything, and that everything's tailored for your company. And then rely on the AI to process that amazing amount of data, which then in turn will make it easy for the leaders to take independent action to understand the insights and not needing someone to sit there with them and explain everything. So that's where these AI and language models especially are extremely good at. One of the end goals with all of this is that you would have this kind of discussions at the office. So having your HR team members bragging about how they used to have a lot of people asking for help all the time, and now you made them independent and you can focus on something more impactful. And on the other hand, you might have some managers, like actually I think I have said this in the recent weeks, that there's something that used to take you 3 hours to process results, understand what to do and so on, and now you can get a meeting agenda done based on results in 15 minutes. So it can be amazing, and you will see it improving the participation rates of your employees as well. So that was some context and food for thought. Hopefully triggered some ideas, and we are always happy to talk in more detail about this if you want. So bring it up in your next meeting with us. But now use cases for the AI features. We will start from admins. You are probably very familiar with that role, and then move on to how leaders and individual employees could use the AI features. With admins, this we already referred to earlier, but it's now possible to upload company documents into Teamspective. And so basically there is a section in your Teamspective workspace called Company Principles. It contains several empty boxes for you at the moment, and you can try to fill them all out. So basically, any document that you upload here, company values, strategy, leadership principles, this will all be fed into the AI model. So it will understand your company instead of providing some more generic advice. So that's an exercise for you to do. I expect that a lot of you already have many of these documents existing in the company. And as said, our AI models are not trained by the data that you provide. So for example, if you add your company values, it will not be used for any other company's AI responses. But here on the slide is an example of how it might impact the output. So let's say I have been asking for some summary of our engagement results, and the response is actually referring to our company values in there. So it's directly connecting that, hey, this result matters because it's part of our values. It might also phrase some discussion points differently and so on. So it's a very effective way of embedding those values and strategy and whatnot into everything your leaders do. Another way is to add some concrete action tips to your surveys. So that's another thing that has been possible for a while in Teamspective. So if you are running engagement surveys, you can create your own action tips for any questions, let's say related to learning. And when you create these, you can actually ask the AI to generate a draft for you. So again, this will get you probably 80%, 90% ready in 5 seconds. Then you can review the contents, you can remove stuff, you can add your own, link your more assets here and so on. But very, very effective. Let's say if you had some custom questions for your company, you can easily build some action tips here as well. And this is what every leader will then receive if they have some actions to take on this topic. And then a third example of setting up assets would be the documents. So if you're using the performance module in Teamspective, switching it up. So there you have the documents. It could be improved development plans, leadership development plans, performance assessments, and whatnot. And when you are creating these templates, you can see an AI here on the side all the time, assessing, analyzing the document that you are drafting. So this would be the template for your company to use or your employees to use. And yeah, based on what you write there, it will analyze it. You will get a quick indications of which sections are already looking good, what you might want to improve, and then it will give you tips if you should, for example, add something or elaborate, and so on. So it can make it very easy. You don't need to copy paste to your other chat, like chat models or such. So that's some ways to prepare your assets with the AI. Then another use case for admins is that as an admin, you usually have access to all the data in your company related to these engagement surveys, performance reviews, whatnot. It's a lot, and there's many people who will look at it on person by person or team level. You can use the AI models to analyze it easily across all the data that you have. So you could, for example, use the AI chat in Teamspective to ask things like this: which teams share some similar improvement areas? You don't need to go and dig through all the dashboards and compare the teams and find which ones are the same, which ones are different. You can just ask the chat. You might ask which topics did we improve the most on last year based on the engagement results. A really good question to ask before some company all hands, for example. You could ask that, hey, we have a plan to improve the career tracks documentation, and then identify which teams have been struggling on that area based on the scores. Or just if there's some repeating topics in 360 feedbacks, that might also be a really good question to ask if you want to think like, well, where do we need scaled trainings as opposed to individual learning in there. So these are really easy to use when you have the features enabled. So there is a chat section in the Teamspective app. It works like any other AI chats. You can ask the question here, and it will have access to the same data that you have. If you are a manager, you have less access. If you are an admin, you have access to the whole thing. And then it will summarize the learnings for you and answer that question, and you can keep working from there. The other use case for the chat would be that it's really good at communicating. If you have used AI chats to draft your messages or improve them, you can ask it to summarize your engagement results or craft a message you can send to employees before company all hands. You could use it to write a briefing for your executive team before the team meeting or the next leadership team meeting, and so on. So it's very good. Again, it will analyze the results, prepare everything, and you have the draft to work on. One of my favorite examples from the recent times is that when this is connected to ChatGPT, a bit more about that soon, at least that one is able to generate PowerPoints. So I just gave a simple prompt, build a PowerPoint presentation from our results. It worked for 15 minutes, and it gave me a presentation that was tailored for the trends and my team, and so on. So amazing output. Typically, well, if you think what you can get done in 15 minutes, that will probably be the part that you use for just looking at the dashboards before even creating that PowerPoint document. So that's something for the admins. And let's see, there's some question. AI chat, it's available in Teamspective app. It's also when it's enabled, it will also work in Microsoft Teams, and then Slack support is coming. They have a slightly slower review process than Microsoft. So getting there. And the AI is also available for leaders. That's where we are getting to now. So these AI features are available to basically every Teamspective user. The only difference is that what data the models have access to. So we restrict it to the same data they would have available in the dashboards or reports and so on. So managers have their teams, admins have everything, and single employees have the part that belongs to them. For leaders, typically the biggest constraint is time. And that's where the AI chat can be extremely useful. For example, understanding the results much faster and easier. You can phrase or ask for like most noteworthy questions or results. If there's some repeating topics, let's say in your performance review results, you can imagine leading a 10 people team, instead of reading through all the reports once again to pick up the trends, you would just ask the AI chat. You could also ask for something a bit more further down in the details. For example, what could be the reason for team motivation score declining, and so on. And I'll show you a demo. Let's switch. I'm now demoing from Microsoft Teams for this purpose. So as a leader, this is the Teamspective app where I might get my feedback requests. I would get my engagement surveys and the results. And I could just ask for the question here. And now we got the demo effect. Let's see if it goes through. Okay, did not go through. Then I'll switch to another tab. Basically, the feature is the same here in the Teamspective app and Teams and all the other solutions you would be using. Need to check if my Teams login expired here in between. Yeah, and here I did a little trick with the response. So I asked the model for why the cross-team collaboration score has been declining recently. And as you can see, it actually says that it's not declining. So really important aspect of these AI models, of course, is that we need to build prompts that makes it reliable. And this is one of the things that we have been trying to get it to lie to us. And currently, at least, it's working pretty well. So there's definitely some quality checking that we are doing all the time to make sure that you can trust the outcomes. Great. Then bit more still on the leaders. So if you're leading a team, the next step after understanding the data is to decide what to do. And obviously, that's another thing you can do as the AI model to suggest which actions to take. You can ask it to draft a message, to send it to the team, or you can even ask it to design a workshop. So you could set some quarterly team goals and take into account all the data that it has available inside Teamspective. So as said, if you upload your strategy and values in there, the model will use that. If you have engagement results, if you have 360 feedback, you can bundle all of that together and get the input based on that. So it can really handle very complex tasks. And yeah, while I was designing this example here, I realized that just reading through these documents would probably take me an hour. And now the AI model can analyze it and feedback the response in just a few seconds. And then one more example on the leaders would be turning feedback into behavior change. So one challenge with any feedback we get at the workplace is often that, well, we get the feedback, we think about it, and then next week we already forget about it. And this is a good way to bundle it back into everything. So for example, you have a meeting prepared, you have a presentation prepared, you could ask the AI model to review everything, considering the feedback that I just received recently. This is something that, for example, I have done occasionally during my career, and doing it this way would make it much easier, meaning that I would do it more frequently now. So it can give tips. For example, for me, I'm a very data-oriented person, so typically the tips I would get is to like bring in a bit more story and context into that presentation. Yeah, and the same thing could be you could ask for it to like see about where to focus a bit more, or is there something to improve in the team practices based on the engagement results. So as you can see, many different ways to ask about the results depending on what you are thinking at the moment. Now, I saved the last one of the leader examples. This is my favorite so far. Again, it's very complex to combine data from multiple sources. If you integrate the Teamspective AI to ChatGPT or Copilot or Claude, whatever tool you are using, you can use that to combine it with your other tools. So I'm leading the sales team here at Teamspective. I could combine our engagement results with our sales pipeline data, and then use that to craft a ready agenda for the team meeting. And it can cross-reference things and so on. So it's a really, really good tool for that. For example, identifying that, let's say, team engagement has been high or on an increasing trend lately means that there's probably more room to push more for more intensive discussions and really discuss about the pipeline. Yeah, Jaakko had a question. Could you create a board ENPS report with AI and it would be correct? Yes, I believe that's exactly what I did in that PowerPoint example. So basically it will pull the exact data that I would see in the Teamspective reports. And that's what it will then use for the output.
Because there's been feedback that it's sometimes painful to clip those presentations when you want to create a report from these engagement results. So yeah, I've done that as well, and I feel your pain. And AI is actually doing a really solid job in that. So I would recommend to give it a try. Ask for a PowerPoint presentation if you have those features enabled in your ChatGPT or your Claude or whatever, or Copilot, whatever AI tools you're using.
Excellent. Last category, use cases for the employees. There's not that many here included today because we see more of that impact will first come from HR and the leaders, or at least that's how you can build examples and drive the adoption. Basically, the same logic applies here. It's really great for understanding and taking action. And what I can see you benefiting from this is that you can give more power or responsibility to the employees. You can tell them that, hey, you can ask the chat to tell what you could do to improve your team's engagement results. It's not just the manager who creates those. It's about your team members' actions. In the same way, they could use it for personal coaching and career development. So what should I ask or discuss with my manager in the next one-to-one to boost my performance and development? That would be an excellent question to ask and get some responses based on engagement and 360 feedback. And yeah, similar, or actually before going there, I can show you, we already did Teamspective app, we did Teams. So this is now the view in Slack. And yeah, let's see if that would give me some tips. You can see here the engagement survey results. So it's the familiar place where you are already receiving those if you use Slack. And now whatever has happened before, you can use the chat to get some responses from the AI. So it will start working here. And as you can see, looking for the answers. Let's see how my demo data supports this request. Yeah, but it came up with 2 points I could discuss with my manager based on the feedback and engagement data. So really handy in the same place where I was working anyway. Yeah, a bit more on personal development. So yeah, as said before, you can ask it to draft some discussion points or create a development plan based on the feedback. Yeah, it can also help you when you have the development plan. It can help you build focus areas, set goals, and so on. And this is where we can come back to the development plan documents I showed you earlier. So previously, we had there the AI guiding the HR team to create a great template. Right now, when I'm filling in my development plan, the AI will guide me to fill it well. So making sure that I covered everything, I'm elaborating enough, I'm concrete enough, and so on. So this will definitely improve the quality of development plans or performance reviews. You can build many different kinds of documents there. So I hope you are now curious about this. So what happens next? Few things. First of all, if you don't already have the AI chat, it will appear to your Teamspective account automatically and very soon. And the users who are using Teams or Slack, we will notify them when they have the AI chat enabled, because previously you haven't been able to talk to the app, and now you can. So we will, of course, let people know when that's possible. And we will try to do it in a mindful way. So let's say when you get some results, then you will be also told that, hey, now you can ask questions to get some further details. And as said, this will first come to Teams and later to Slack, because Slack review has been pending. Then there's the more advanced way. So if you want to connect Teamspective data directly to Copilot, ChatGPT, Claude, or some other AI tool, even your in-house ones, that can be done with the MCP connectors, and you can find more information in your workspace settings. Our team is happy to help set those up. Really powerful tools. And we are really eager to hear about all the various use cases you might invent with this. So please share your feedback if you have been successful with something, if you're really excited about something, and we will also collect this and keep sharing back to all the customers. So you can cross-learn across companies. And related to the feedback, for those who are able to be in Helsinki in a month's time, actually exactly a month, we are hosting a customer event, and it's focused on vibe coding with Teamspective. So the idea there is that we want to hear your feedback, your crazy ideas, whatnot, related to the product, and our engineering team will be there as well, and they will be coding in real time during that afternoon or early evening. So there's still some spots left. We have just opened the registration, so if you want to join, you can message us directly here in the chat. And yeah, Reko is sharing some instructions there. So just fill in the form and yeah, join us there. This will be the first time we do this as an event. We have done it many times before with one customer at a time, but this will be really exciting, and I'm sure there's good energy coming up in the session. Couple more before we get to the Q&A. Next customer webinar, we are intending to do this quite regularly. You will quite soon get invites for the next one, so check your email. But the focus next time will be on updating your survey model, so sharing a bit about the different ways we have seen how companies operate employee surveys. We'll give you some tips for tailoring your surveys to your company. And then, well, our team is designing a lot of these surveys and data models all the time, so we will share some best practices and learnings from there. And if you like us, leave a G2 review. There's a lot of people who want to hear from other HR people before choosing what solutions or software they should consider or buy. And yeah, if you want to help them and if you want to help us, use 5 minutes to leave a G2 review, and we will share the link in the chat now. It doesn't take long, but it's extremely great for us and then, of course, for many HR professionals. Excellent. But now would be time for Q&A. We have a couple really good questions so far. And yeah, if you have something still in mind, type into the chat, or if you are really brave, you can open your microphone. Would these AI capabilities improve OKR compatibility? I think there might be 2 answers to this. Jaakko, feel free to add. But one thing is that on our roadmap, what we have started to build is ability to manage like actions or tasks inside Teamspective, and that will evolve further towards goals. So when you are able to set goals in Teamspective, then definitely those will tie into AI, and then I think the answer is definite yes. And in the meanwhile, one way how our AI can help is, let's say so if you are able to export your goals in a document that you then upload to Teamspective, the AI model can handle that and use it you can use the chat to ask just about those, or then you can connect it with the other data. So in that way, definitely, yes, there is already a way to connect those. Anything to add, Jaakko?
No, I think you did a perfect job. So we are adding a new concept called tasks, and it has been released now for the first customer for very early testing. If you want to be involved in that testing, give us a shout and we'll include you next.
Are the company documents added to the AI tool user specific, or are they used for all users? Really great question. So they are company level or workspace level. So only admins can modify those or upload those documents. And then the AI model will use those documents for all the users. So that's one thing you can control. And in addition to that, in the AI chat, you can set your own rules. So these would be user specific. So if there's your personal style, if you want the model to be extremely blunt or extremely friendly, or whatever, use bullet points or write only in haiku format, you can give it instructions. So that would be user specific, but the documents you can upload as an admin are shared across everyone. Nice. I believe we could wrap it up for today. Yeah, as said, these features will be available to you, if not already now, very soon. Play around, let us know your feedback, crazy ideas, something that worked, something your leaders or employees love, we are more than happy to hear the feedback. And yeah, look forward to meeting you soon again. Thanks for joining and have a really good rest of the day.